All right, there we go. Can you still hear me?
Yep. How's it going, man?
All right. Last time this headset it worked in the behind backstage, and then when I went live, it wouldn't work. All right, I got my comments up. Give everyone a minute to come in. Let's see here. Got my notes ready. There we go. Numbers going up. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Garcia Aquatics. As always, the summertime numbers are always lower, but you also got to wait for that Fish Fam link to go notification to go out.
You want to pick up where we left off? Kind of
Yeah,
some people some time to jump in.
yeah. So tell me about this, the aquascaping.
So for Aquashella, they have two qualification rounds and then an online qualification. And then the Dallas one is in 2 weeks. And then the Chicago one is literally the weekend, 2 weeks after the
Ugh.
Keystone Clash.
Wow, you're gonna be a little
So
busy.
yeah, but that one, first place of that gets $5,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
I want all the practice I can get, really. So you said
That's
you want to
good.
do one 2 weeks beforehand. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. What are the rules for the Keystone Clash? Is it bring my own materials, or
Nope, nope, nope.
you're gonna
So
provide everything?
we are working on getting an actual document that has the rules. But what I do know, it's going to be approximately a 17-gallon tank, rimless, low iron. I think it's WIO is the brand, I believe. I might be wrong, but I believe that's what it is. Excuse me. It's gonna have the brand new Oasi filter, hang on the back filter. It's gonna have a Higer light. We are going to provide pool sand, um, plants, rocks, and driftwood. Um, I believe if you want to put in livestock, you can. But it either needs to be removed or it's going to go with the tank. The first place winner is going to either get the setup, the entire setup, or the proceeds of the raffle. So, I mean, you do a kick-ass aquascape and it gets first place and it goes for $10,000. You get $10,000.
Yeah.
um, and then the second through 12th, all the rest of the setups are being raffled off, but we are going to give a prize for the second and third place also. That's as much as I know. It does not come with a stand. We're going to reuse those. There are going to be a lot of plants. I do know that. They've already been donated, and we're still working on some of the other stuff.
Awesome.
So, progress. This is our first time doing it at this event. So it's a bit of a
Everybody's
learning
learning on
us. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
the Aquashella one in Dallas is in 2 weeks, and they still don't have the supplies listed and stuff like that. So
yeah.
don't feel bad. The aquascaping scene in America is a little bit behind, but
Yep.
like everybody that's contributing, like we greatly appreciate it because the aquarium hobby is 10% of America.
Nice.
So if we can grow that even just another percent, I mean that's a huge. But not all of them aquascape. So to incorporate more people into aquascaping and stuff like that, and a lot of people will switch from saltwater to freshwater when they see, the beautiful aquascapes rather than the pink and rainbow colored gravel. So
I just realized I didn't send Skipper the link to join us. What a terrible person I am. I'm never gonna live this one down. Let me see here. It's coming, Skipper. It's coming. Let's see here. Paste. Send. There we go. Don't be late, Skipper. All right. What an ass. I know. I feel bad. All right. Let's say some hellos. So, hello, Garcia Aquatics. Welcome, Jimmy P. Welcome, the most wonderful Patty. Dennis. Stephen P. Mark Sterlson. Only Oscars. Shanna. Kelly Foreman, I hope you're doing better today. Thinking of you. Annette, Mystery Snail Guardians. And, of course, Skipper. I'm so sorry. Killer Kitty, hello. And there we go. That's everyone. We're up to 19 people. That's exciting for a summer weekend night. All right, so welcome, Shelby and Grant. So nice to have you. Thank you for joining me. Work sometimes just gets in the way. I had to cancel this stream a few weeks ago, and I apologize. I was really excited for it, and then they decided they were going to do fireworks, and then it ended up getting canceled.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was probably for the better, because at our house, it was kind of chaotic because we had a huge thunderstorm. I thought we were going to have a bad thunderstorm again, but it's passed. But we had really bad thunderstorm, and people were lighting off fireworks if there wasn't thunder and wasn't rain.
Wow.
And one of our dogs just doesn't really fare too well during that. So she would have been an issue, and I think we even lost internet that night.
Oh wow. Okay.
So and there was a UFC that night, and I was like, I'm gonna ignore those fights, but there was a fight today, but that was early in the day, so I was like, it's just meant to be this day because of everything worked out that way. So
I was getting nervous. I was getting nervous for tonight because they said they were having a movie night, which I was like, no big deal. I don't have to be there for that. It's going to be a low attendance event, but they did want me to be there while they were clearing the aquarium of the daytime guests, and so I needed to be there for that, and these people just weren't leaving. I was like, guys, I gotta go. I need to get home. So I literally I walked in my door. So it was a bit of hustling, but so yeah, thank you. I do appreciate it. So for any newcomers that are here joining us, my Saturday night. Oh, I gotta let Skipper in.
No, you didn't.
Sorry, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, buddy. I was rushing. I really was.
No, you're fine.
So yes, on my stream, on the Saturday night stream, I like to focus on clubs and what they do, how they operate, and whenever I have a guest, I like to learn about other clubs. And I heard on one of your streams that you're a big part of your local clubs, and there's a few of them and stuff like that. And my ears perked up, and I was like, perfect. I was relatively new to your stream, which I absolutely love. Like when you start geeking out about shrimp, I love it. Like you were saying how your last stream, it was the last one or week before, you were really going deep into it, and you're like, I probably lost everyone. I was like, oh, hell no, keep going. I'm loving it. And so Shelby and Grant are from the Garden of Eden. They have a metric shit ton of tanks in their home, and I am so jealous. But I gotta say, they do have quality products. They have an amazing sticker for starters that gets shipped with gummy bears, and even if they're melted, they're still delicious. And,
not everybody got gummy bears because of the mail system. Some of the envelopes and some of them got rejected. So we ended up putting them through. But anybody that puts in an order through the website and they use the member code, they get goodies. So,
I got my first Caradina shrimp from Grant and Shelby, and knock on some damn wood, they're still alive. I did not kill them, which is a success.
Which ones did you get? Remind me.
The orange ones.
Tangerine tigers?
Yes.
All right, those are tanks.
That's perfect for me.
Yeah.
That's perfect for me because I'm not a good fish keeper sometimes. So they are doing well. They are doing well. I'm extremely excited. A couple more people joined us. Hello, Jenna P and Fishymon and Matt Liquid Zoo. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. All right. So we got a good number, up to 20 people. Let's get started. So what is your local club?
I'm going to let Shelby talk for a little bit. She's got an aquascape that she's trying to get to. So I'll let Shelby do her spiel, and then I'll do mine, and then you'll hear her correct me because her chair's right there next to me. So whenever I say something wrong or out of order, she'll be right there to get me back in order. So
you got it.
Why don't you give the spiel on our local clubs, or if you want me to, I'll go for it. You can go for it. All right. Well, where we're located, we don't really have anything that we go and do. We didn't go to bars or anything like that. And we had a local that was selling a bunch of stands with 55-gallon tanks, fully loaded with substrate plants. Wow. I'm talking crypts out the wazoo. Nice. They came with guppies, longfin bristlenose, albinos, and cories, and just everything you needed for that stand. And they were relatively, I think I paid $110 per stand, and it came with two 55-gallon tanks. So like I paid $1 per gallon. And I noticed that the rest of her garage was filled with betta tanks.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, where do you sell your betas? And she goes, oh, well, I sell my betas over here and there. And then I take some of them to the Tampa Bay Aquarium Society. And I was like, what's that? And she described it as a fish club. They meet once a week. They have...
Once a week?
Not once a week. Once a month. I'm so sorry. Oh. It's been a long day. More time in the heat than I wanted to in the last few days. So they do a speaker for an hour, and then there's an auction afterwards. And she puts some of them in the auction. She says there's an annual auction. So I was like, oh, can I get more information? I think she gave me their website or their Facebook page. I looked up their next meeting time, and we joined. And I didn't really have any shrimp to sell or anything at that time. I was more like just interested in the club. But I did kind of like join it as like a platform to offload my shrimp, and I wanted to check it out. But the speakers ended up being really good, really informative. A lot of tours, not tours, but like people who have really nice greenhouses or farms and stuff like that. So there's pictures of their different setups and whatnot. People from all different aspects of the hobby. And it's a 45 to an hour and 10-minute drive. And we just ended up doing that. Shelby said every month for about a year. Wow. And then
and that was Tampa Bay, you said?
Yeah, T-Bass, Tampa Bay Aquarium Society. Mm-hmm. And I was always on Craigslist for chameleons and reptiles, and I just kind of like every now and then would jump into it. And I'd see this like advertisement for a fish club out of Pasco County, and I was just like, I don't know, they're advertising in Craigslist. It can't be that legit or anything like that. And I just didn't give them any chance at all. And then out of nowhere, I got an email from the Pasco Aquarium Society. Wow. And they wanted me to come to a talk. And I was only like a year and a half into the hobby. And I was like, you want me to come do a talk? And I guess they had found someone, or someone was in the Tampa Bay club that was going to both and recommended me or something like that. I don't know how they found out about me, but I did a talk in our president's, I don't know, it's Jose, I think Jose is our current president right now still. And it was in his house, the first club meeting. Okay. And when I came to talk, there was literally like the entire house was packed.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
It was my very first shrimp talk. I don't remember how I did or anything like that. I've been told from like good people in the club, like it was a little rough the first 2 times or whatever, but like, oh man, you've really done it in now. I think what
What
it
was it about?
was just shrimp keeping and breeding.
Hmm.
But I went into just too much specifics and parameters and stuff like that. Where now, like, especially after watching Chris Biggs do a talk,
Hmm.
like he more takes it like a comedian approach
Yes, he
and
does.
then goes into like really scientific nerdy and gives you
Yeah.
like a bunch of like knowledge really fast,
Hmm.
and then we'll crack another joke, tell a story, and it really keeps everybody involved. So I try not to do too much genetics one after another, because like we've got an old timer that comes to some of the club meetings. He's part of the Gold Coast. Like we're in Florida. There's 4 of them that I've done talks with. There was one in Jacksonville that couldn't get a board anymore to keep running. There's
Mm,
one in Venice and Fort Myers. I've spoken at both of those clubs. They're just 2.5 hours away, so it's kind of far for us to
yeah.
drive. And they're on similar days of our other club meetings, so it's like
Oh, that sucks.
I choose the closer ones. And sadly, the Tampa one moved from Mondays to Saturdays, and it's just too hard for Shelby to get off on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And that's one of my shipping days.
Right.
So for me to get out all of my shipping orders for Saturday and then jump into getting stuff for a fish club and then going, because like I don't need to bring stuff for the fish club,
Right.
but there's outrage when I don't bring shrimp. You know what I mean? They're like, get in and bring anything. Like,
You set a high
I've
standard.
been waiting. I've been waiting. You're here.
Yeah.
Where's the shrimp? So it's like I'm expected to bring it, and without Shelby, my day is just chaotic. Like I'm lucky if I can get 4 or 5 boxes of shrimp out without her. I'll do
Hmm.
10, but it's like I gotta have the kids at school. I gotta have
Yeah.
with the both of us here, the kids can kind of like ask whoever's inside. They can't shut our back door, so anytime they want to pop outside and ask for something, I gotta stop what I'm doing, come back, shut the door, get everybody happy, whatever they needed in the first
Yeah.
place. So Saturdays are just too rough. My other
Right.
club meeting, Pasco, is on Saturday, but it's
Hmm.
5 minutes away from the house.
Oh, that's perfect.
15 with bad traffic, but
Yeah.
I literally drive by the Pasco meeting to get to the Tampa. So we don't go to the Tampa meeting that much anymore, but there's one down in the Gold Coast Aquarium Society in Coral Springs. We've only gone to the expo down there. It's like a 4.5 hour drive, so I can't make it to that.
Mm.
But one of their club members does come up if we have a really good speaker. His name's Chuck
Oh, nice.
Davis. So I
heard of
rate
that name.
speakers.
Yes.
He's a really good artist,
Yeah.
but he's infamous for falling asleep at club meetings. So it's like I want to do a club meeting where I keep him awake the entire time, and that
That's
is
your
very
goal.
difficult when you start talking about Caradina shrimp. I'm just
Yeah.
like, so that's when I like to talk about the expensive pure red lines can get all the way up to like 200 grand, and you know
Hmm.
the boas can be about 7 grand for a pair when they first came into the hobby and stuff like that. So that'll get, some of the people will be like, wait, how much for a shrimp that big? So it's like I got to incorporate more of that. And then I think also I talk about the house, because how do you not talk about 300 tanks in the house?
True
And then
story.
everybody's like, so what lottery ticket did I have to play to win a wife like yours to let me have that many tanks, And
Right.
and it's like, oh man. So I try to say several jokes. She had rules in the house where we weren't going to have tanks in the kitchen. We weren't going to have tanks in the bedroom. And then she allowed me to have a budget. And there was a clearance that day. And I went back and there was a bet, without ruining too much of the jokes for everybody. But it's like, that's how I get so many of the tanks in. And that's when everybody's like definitely paying attention for sure at the club meetings.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm showing them
Absolutely.
pictures of the different rooms and stuff like that. And we always upgrade so much of the house that even if you see my talk last, it's different now because there's new tank racks, there's new tanks, there's new photos of shrimp that I change out and stuff like that. So I'm also learning. Like I've only been doing this for 9 years November, so not even a decade into it, and I haven't even been taking it seriously. Like this is my first year trying to learn the Latin for most of the things. Like before last year, I'm like, you can keep it the cherries and pumpkins for me, please. Like, let's do it that way.
Yeah.
And so I try to do a good talk. I've got three different talks. We've been lucky enough to travel to Colorado, and I like the fact that my talk was good enough to go to a Colorado Cichlid Association, the Rocky
Oh,
Mountain
wow.
Association,
Mhm.
and like my shrimp have never sold for more at auction than at the Cichlid Club, and I'm like, please don't put these in a cichlid tank, But
Wow.
don't have that much of that going on out there. So I thought, but then I go to the pet stores, and then it's like we're getting recognized at the pet stores. They're like, "Oh, you got any shrimp for us?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just looking for aquascape materials. I see that stack over there."
Mhm.
And then they're like, "Oh, come do a talk for us at the club." And I'm like, "You can pay me in aquascape materials, or not the club, at the pet store, Aqua Dog."
Oh, wow.
But when I was not even 15 minutes after I was done with the Cichlid Association, the head of club for the Colorado Aquarium Society is like, "Hey, can you come back and talk in August?" And it was April, so it was 4-month turnaround and
Yeah.
still really good turnouts. But you learn something from how all the different club associations do things.
Yes.
So, like I mentioned, our Pasco club went from doing maxed out in Jose's house
Mhm.
to now I think we're one of the biggest clubs in America.
That's
We
amazing.
have averaged 80 to 100 people at every meeting now for the past year.
Wow.
Yeah.
We
Uh,
do about half of that. Yeah. We're
so
about half of that up here.
because your channel was about fish clubs, I was curious, are we the biggest? I'm not bragging. This isn't a pissing contest, but I just
So
look
far
back at
that
the
I've
growth.
interviewed, yes.
So
So
just
far
looking
that
at the
I've
growth of
interviewed,
the
yeah.
club, me and Shelby, we do what we can, but recently I've only just been participating a little bit more.
Mhm.
Before, if they needed volunteers or something and we were available, we'd come help set up tables and stuff like that. Just doing the talks. I would talk for my club for free just to get my membership for the family.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I'd bring in uh, uh, door prizes and stuff like that when we didn't have sponsors and stuff. So they're
Mhm.
just little things, but I wasn't really part of like the board of putting meetings together and getting locations and speakers and stuff like that until we started traveling around to all the Aquashellas, and they're like, "Hey, LRB, can you get him to come speak for our club? Oh, I saw
Yeah.
you talking to Jason. Can you go get him to speak for our club?" Because we have so many people, we have
Yeah.
400 bags auctioned off on an average club meeting.
Wow.
So we're there from 12 o'clock till 5, 6 o'clock sometimes. But
Wow.
it's at a VFW. They serve food until a certain amount of time. They have drinks. So it's like some of the people don't mind, but
I might need
it
to
is
come
a
down
little
there.
annoying when this one person brings in 40 jars of guppies and then uses his wife's member number and brings in another 40 jars of guppies. They're phenomenal, beautiful guppies. Like I'm telling
Yeah.
you, they're just as nice as anything out there. But it's like if you probably just brought 20, you probably sell them for about the same. His name would still get out there, but like
Yeah.
you're kind of irritating people by bringing so much. It's
Yeah.
kind of dropping the price of everybody else's guppies and his.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, you don't want to flood it. That's
but we do like a 3 bag per limit, but I think it needs to be like a 20 species bag per limit. Like I shouldn't be able to bring 40 bags of shrimp.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
could bring 40 bags of 5 shrimp in each bag, no problem. But like,
Right.
I don't want to sit there and listen to that being auctioned off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That gets old. No,
Yeah.
I agree. We do up here. It usually maxes out around 100 lots at the auction, and typically around 20 to 40 people, and that's for a few of the clubs around here. Now at the Keystone Clash, we're over 400 lots. I think we'll probably be around 600 to 800 this year in the auction,
Damn.
and it takes a good part of the day for sure. And yeah, and attendance wise, our goal is 200, and we're already over 100. So it's going to be exciting.
I'm
So
gonna go hide somewhere.
you're gonna show up for the auction. You're not gonna
I'm gonna
oversleep.
No, I'm gonna go hide somewhere because I want you to put me to work when I'm there.
Yeah, and we had Lucas at the Clash last year as one of our speakers, and we had Biggs the year before. Well, the Clash before because we had a year off, but
Biggs is my all-time favorite speaker right now.
yeah, he's so much fun, much fun for sure. So you're more active with the Pasco Club.
Yes, but if I have to say, the people in the Tampa Bay Club, a lot of the people in Pasco are family too, but like there's just some real gems in the Tampa Bay Club that we have to make sure that we're a part of when we go see some of these meetings, because like our kids grew up going to fish club meetings. Like Layla was born into it.
Nice.
We have at the Tampa Bay Club Thelma. She's a legendary fish farm breeder. Worked for 5D Tropicals. Was a circus act back before she bred fish. So she is one of those. If somebody's performing, you need to give them respect, pay attention, listen, quiet, and for that reason, our kids are just on point. Like we were at the last.
Amazing.
I spoke in the Greater Pittsburgh Aquarium Association. They're like, oh, the kids and Shelby can hang out. There's a pool at the hotel. Da 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 da. And I was like, no, they're gonna come. And he was like, oh, I think he got the vibe that like, oh, I was bringing kids to a meeting. Like this is more, and like, trust me, how serious it was at their club meeting. I was gonna talk about that a little bit later, but I might as well bring it up now.
Yeah.
Just right off the rip, when I went out to dinner with their president, I got the vibe like, oh, no. Before that, we went to the zoo with one of their club members.
Right.
And he brought up the Breeders' Award program and like how big and the thing it was. And it was a shame that I wasn't in town longer, so I couldn't go to Eric Bodrick's house. And there was a lot of different things like involved. And I was like, I just don't know who these people are. I don't know what's going on here. And then you get to the club meeting and you see the auction tables and the ones for Breeders' Awards program, and there's 11 bags. We have 100 people. They had 30. They had 11 bags for Breeders' Awards. We have 0 every month. Like nobody participates in it.
That's interesting.
So I took away a couple things. So like I said, I haven't really been participating until they asked me to bring in speakers. And I missed a couple months. Like I'm like, hey, I don't have anybody. I don't know anybody local. I wasn't doing this beforehand. I'm just kind of getting the out-of-state people for them. But it is helping because Jason will post it up on his Facebook, and then all of a sudden we get new members that are like, oh, yeah, I heard it from Jason. So the Pittsburgh, they did $100 first place for the year points on Breeders' Award. Second place was $75. Third place was $50. And they did a horticulture program. Some of the Breeders' Award program were like first time ever bred in the United States. Nobody's going to bring that to our club if there isn't some type of incentive. And like over there, if you were a master breeder in the club, they put you on a pedestal. They were like I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. When I don't play World of Warcraft or games anymore because I don't have the time to grind out to have the best gear to be the best. Those are the games I like to play. I don't have time for that anymore. So I'm building a different empire in real life, and I'm watching my kids have fun in the video games. But that's how they were playing it, as a grind system, whoever had the top high score. So I brought it back. I was like, let's do a prize system. Like, our club brings in enough money, we can do that, because a bag of 6 Corys is going to go for $60 like it did in that club.
Wow.
And then that's going to pay for third place. But then there's going to be 4 or 5 other bags that sell for $20 a piece because Shelby's going to bring in her Achilles fish.
Ooh.
She's not going to bring in Achilles to sell in the auctions that much.
Right.
But Breeders' Award, it's a donation to the club, all the money proceeds. So I'm also willing to go and run up the price a little bit more on a Breeders' Award program because all the proceeds go to the donation.
Right. Exactly. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I think it would generate more money for the club that way. And I said, let's get a whiteboard. Let's put it up every meeting. Shelby's got really nice handwriting. I volunteered her. I do that way too often. But when you're as perfect as Shelby, you have to do it, you know? And she writes out good handwriting. She can update points monthly. Even if it's not monthly, you know what I mean? Just having it, you know, the November posted through the holidays, you know? It'll be something to work on during the winter to get your tub set up and ready so that springtime comes along. You can get all them breeding and out there and going. So I'm trying to get that fire into our contest. And because Lucas Bretz is now an hour away.
Lucky.
And we have the Tampa Bay Aquarium Association does have somewhat of a Breeders' Award program points. But it's not enough that every time somebody comes, it's not enough that they give certificates and awards. Like the beginning of the meeting in Pittsburgh, they started it off and said, this person won this. Congratulations. Everybody clapped. Wow. This person won this. They got a bigger clap. You know what I mean? It was 5 people or whatever. It was 5 minutes, but it was 5 minutes of appreciation. You got a certificate that says you have this many points towards your master breeder certificate. If something ever were to happen to this club member who was maintaining it or our website or something like that and they all got lost, you have a backup that you can put in a folder to bring in and say, I have enough points this year. So it's like, I think that's worth it and would get more people involved. And when I talked about it, I don't know if you know Ryan Kenley from Wild Fish Tanks. He's in Orlando. He drives an hour and a half to come to our club. He's got like 50,000 members on YouTube. If you want to talk to somebody about fish clubs, that dude is putting in the work. He's the auctioneer and he speaks at our club. Great guy.
What's his name again?
Name Ryan Kenley. And you let him know Grant sent you, and he's more than willing as long as he has time to come on the stream. And promoting fish clubs is what that man loves to do because it promotes the hobby. He sells like plecos and pleco caves and breeds a lot. He breeds a lot of not breed, but I think he can sell the pygmy sunfish.
Oh wow!
Oh man, I don't want to butcher the Latin name. I'm not ready yet. The Alisoma, maybe I don't know. But
I'm sure Alishon will put it in the chat. He knows them all.
So
no pressure.
But when he heard about it, he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to even bring it to Tampa next week. I'm going to hold them and bring them to Pasco next month." And I'm like, "Please." And we'll set up a table and get more recognition. And we have Josh Cunningham from Detroit. He's going to be our speaker next month.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, that's a great guy to, talk about. I can't remember if I think he's breeding riff cichlids or something like that.
Yeah, he's a cichlid guy.
Oh, yeah. And he's an AKA certified speaker. So I'm really excited. Really excited.
Wow.
Not AKA.
ACA.
ACA.
I knew what you meant.
I gotcha. So, but back to our Tampa Bay club meeting, because Thelma, she is just that sweet old lady. She'll go up to the kids. Now you behave for your kids, your parents now. And she's just sweetest old lady. And then we've got a great president who's running it right now, Dharmesh. He's doesn't have a ton of tanks, but he's really passionate about fish, about aquascaping.
Wow.
We've got the legendary Bill Shields, who does travel to both clubs, but he is like the Tampa Bay, one of the original founders. And he is like, when I tell people about him, I say he's bred more fish than everybody in the entire club put together, unless you count Thelma. Take Thelma, put her aside, because she's bred her own fair share. But he's like the original breeder for glowfish and all these other things. So like people like who I wonder who Grant goes to when he has troubles. Well, there's not really anybody I can go to for shrimp, but fish or setups or projects. Bill Shields is the book of all knowledge from everything fish to elephants. I mean, he bred elephants at the Lowry Park Zoo here in Tampa. But then we have
the elephants.
Then we have Mike. Yeah, and then we have Mike LaBella, and he is from New York, big personality character, and he is what I call like the face of our club. And he will introduce everybody who, if you're new to the club, they make you sign in a sheet in order to get your paddle. But what he does is he gets the names and he goes, so and so. How many tanks do you have? What do you keep? What do you breed? Introduction to them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, very first club meeting we go to. Who's Grant? Raise your hand. I raise my hand. What do you keep? And I'm like, I mainly just have shrimp. He's like, oh, interesting. How many tanks do you have? At the time, I only had 55. No.
Oh, only?
No. I only had like 15.
Okay.
I only had like, right? But my answer was, I only got 15 right now, but by the time of the next club meeting, I'll have 55. And those were my words, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was so used to like fish club prices. The auction hadn't even started yet. I didn't know what any of those prices were going to be. But like Shelby can speak for it. We didn't go to the bar. We went to a fish store every Friday with our paycheck and blew half of it on whether we were doing peacock cichlids, Oscars. Like we've done so many different types of like pet store fish trials and errors and stuff like that.
Errors.
That
repeat that one.
Yeah, that when I stumbled across shrimp, I was just having so much success in none of the issues. So I just kind of like went for it in domino effect. But also I was used to all the prices. So when I saw these Cory cats and all the stuff that I recognized, and Shelby's like, "Oh, I kind of want to try again." And I spent, like $80, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's a big spender. You sure he's got that money in his pocket?" Like they don't say that to me back then, but they'll make that joke amongst friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I kind of know I was getting that vibe. This kid just showed up. We didn't have my daughter at the time. I just had Jaden. He was really young. And maybe we didn't even, we definitely had him. So we walked out of there with like 16 bags of fish.
Oh, wow.
Something ridiculous. And a bunch of plants. And like I walked out of there, I was like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to have 55 tanks. Like I got to set up everything like tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the next club meeting, I didn't know this, but at that club meeting, Dharmesh, who I mentioned was the president, and Mike LaBella were talking. And I can't remember who said what, but they go, that kid's so full of shit, huh? We'll never see him again, type thing. Well, sure enough, next club meeting, we're there, and I don't have a sign-in sheet, so I write my name in to get my paddle, and I signed up for membership. Just they don't print out new sheets and new paddle things every single month. So they go, all right, Grant. Oh, I remember you from last time. And then he goes, how many tanks are you up to? And I think I was over 55. I was like at 57. And so a couple of years go by, and Dharmesh goes to Mike and is like, you know what? He said he was going to do everything he said he was going to do, and we all didn't believe him.
Yeah.
So, like, after 2 years of me talking, like, oh, I'll have 150 tanks. Oh, I'll have this. And I kept having it. Eventually, Mike just went from stop believing to, like, my biggest hype man. And, like, my dad isn't really, like, doesn't believe in – I used to do landscaping. When I told him I'm stopping doing that and I'm going to do shrimp full time, there was very little belief that I could do that. First of all, they're in Hawaii. They're not here. They're not seeing it. They don't understand the whole shrimp scene. There isn't one in Hawaii, really. You can't send them to the islands. They're an invasive species, so
Oh,
they're
wow.
not allowed. And just doesn't have much faith in that was going to go on. So I had Mike, who's just always like, "Oh man, you got to keep doing this. Oh, if I was your age, I'd be going on it." And then he'll pull me aside and kid, I'm so proud of you. So like right there, that hits me, and he's so
Yeah.
Involved with my kids and getting them in with the hobby, and my kids will run all the bags for the auction.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
And you're bringing them to the clash, right?
What's that?
You're bringing them to the clash, right?
It's a maybe.
I don't know.
Hope so.
I don't know the
If it's-
logistics. It
what
depends
date
how
is
much
it?
school they have to miss.
Yeah.
Ah.
And I'm not big on them missing school because we did the whole travel scene with Jaden, and he missed a lot of school in year, and it really hurt. It was hard for him to catch
We
up.
always need runners.
Trust me, the two of them would take it out because they get bored at the Pasco meeting because there's so many kids. They were not raised by Thelma, and they're just it is a little chaotic there.
Well, you said
So my kids don't get to do the entire thing, and
Right.
But yeah, they're more than capable.
Wow.
that's cool that your kids go to the meetings and they do
Yeah.
that stuff.
That's
But-
amazing.
So
Scotty, if you need a runner, just use Fishimon. He's the size of a little kid.
Also, real quick, I don't want to miss it, but as predicted, Alshon had the genus or
Yeah.
the species. I'm sorry, or no, the genus. Yeah, for the fish that you mentioned. I knew he would.
Evergladii ellisoma.
There you go. And also, Alshon, I got the tickets for you today. By the way, before I forget.
But back to Mike. I just got one more
please,
on Mike.
Please.
So our first club meeting back from COVID was a swap, and we're at our table, and Mike's so happy to see us, see the kids. Oh, Jaden, how you doing? How many tanks you got in your room? Because he hasn't seen our house. He doesn't know what's happened. He's wanting to figure it out. Jaden's like 46. Oh, Layla, how many tanks do you got? And Layla's like, none. And I look at Layla and I'm like, Layla, you want tanks in your room? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what do you want? And she's like, a rack like Jaden's. And I'm like, all right, so I could put it all shrimp in it. And she's like, one shrimp tank or one fish tank. So it's literally all 35 tanks of shrimp and then one tank of her daisy rice fish. Hold on. It was one tank of her daisy rice fish and shrimp culls. But then the other big guy that I mentioned that's part of the club started one of the originals, Bill Shields.
Yeah.
He also runs an Aquarium Beautiful contest at our Florida State Fair every year.
Oh, wow.
And it's got 46 different categories. And one of the there's several kid categories, different age groups and stuff like that. And so our kids participate every year. They set up their own tanks. And Layla set her tank up, and then we moved her rice fish into her tank that she set up. So I have the rack all shrimp now, but
Right.
she
exciting.
enjoys the tanks in her room. She wants the axolotls moved into her room in a nice planted tank. So
that's amazing. It's
definitely involved.
George
Farmer actually mentioned that we're the very first American aquascape family, since we're all involved in it and we all do our own scapes. So
wow.
So your kids, they've done their own escapes then.
Yeah.
Jaden's won all of the aquatic experience competitions that he's entered, and won he won Dustin's fish tank contest at Aquashella one time, and he's won Best of Show twice at the Aquarium Beautiful contest. The one year he lost that, a kid basically turned 18 like a week after the deadline and entered the world's smallest nano tank with a bunch of little he did it right, but it was like it was an 18-year-old, and they rank all of that into, if it's 17-year-old to first graders is basically the youth category. So,
okay.
But Layla also beat him that year, so he's got a second place ribbon that he's not very happy with. He's very competitive. And I was a little worried
That's
if Layla
amazing.
beat him twice in a row that he was just going to give up and quit because he does not like to lose. And Layla picked up on it really quick. She's got the rules down. Like, she's very artistic. And so when she saw something that I told her was like going to get her points off, it really bothered her because in the beginning she fixed it. And then when we filled up the tank, came back the next day, she saw it came undone. So she was worried it wasn't going to be right for the judges. So.
And how old are they?
Layla just turned 8 and Jaden's 10.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Good.
It says a lot about you two. Absolutely amazing.
If you ever get bored, we do have videos of the Aquarium Beautiful contests and us setting up the tanks and the kids setting them up and then like the whole show. So.
Yes.
And it's like our worst videos. Nobody's interested in Aquarium Beautiful contest.
I love them. It's my favorite. It's like a home video, but like YouTube style. So like I always get that memory, but like I'm hoping one day, like if we get bigger, someone will come stumble across it and be like, "Oh, this is really neat!" And
hell yeah,
see that skyrocket.
It's always interesting. I get somebody like that I don't talk to since high school or something. They're like, "Is this your tank?" They'll like message me out of blue on Facebook or somebody I worked for or something like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, we're damn near out of time. I didn't even have to ask any of my questions. You answered them all.
I have one more story that I thought maybe you'd like to hear. I told you I had stories. I saved them for you.
I've been so excited. Yes.
We did my very first talk for Father Fish and his club down at the Venice Aquarium Society. He no longer lives there, but he's still a big part of their club. He live streams their club meetings for them.
Yeah, he just moved up here. He's really close to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maryland.
So when he first asked me to come to his club, he had a fish store. And we wanted to make a whole day trip out of going 2.5 hours away. It's real close to Venice, where they have a lot of shark's teeth. But it was very cold. I didn't think it was going to be that cold in February. But when you're a Floridian or born in Hawaii and then grew up in Florida, it was cold for us. The kids did not want to be there. So
I can imagine.
We ended up going to a park instead. But we also spent quite some time at a couple different fish stores that we'd never been to. Father Fish's store, that was our first time going there. And then another one was called Seascapes, and they had a nice assortment, probably the nicest one we had seen up until that time, of aquascape materials. So we definitely spent our time there, and then we go to the club meeting, and I guess the one guy that usually unlocks the park building they were at was on vacation, left the key for somebody else to come unlock it. The guy never showed up.
Oh, jeez.
So we're sitting outside of this venue. Nobody can let us in. They eventually find an IHOP down the road that opens up their back doors and lets us come do a talk.
Nice.
And so the club also does food. Like somebody cooks and I felt so bad going to an IHOP, but I guess they paid for the back room and they let them know and stuff like that. People were encouraged to buy an order and stuff like that too.
Right.
But because of how late it was, I don't think I started talking until 9:30. And then I had an hour talk. And then I had answered questions and stuff like that. And then I was like, listen, people, I'm sorry. I love to stay and do the auction and stuff like that, but I have to go. It's a 2.5 hour drive home, and I think the kids had school the next day or something.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe it's just getting late for the kids and they're falling asleep. So
I
say goodbye and I start to walk out, and a guy approaches me. He's like, "Hey, I'm Jack Kent. I'm the CEO of Brightwell Aquatics. I really enjoyed your talk. I'd really like to help, work with you, develop a shrimp line, da-da-da-da-da. Would you like to talk more?" And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I got to got to get going. Give me your card. I'll talk to you another time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I totally like blew that guy off, not realizing who it was. I drove all the way home, went sound asleep, woke up the next day at like 6 o'clock in the morning and was like, what did I do? All right. Because like I didn't know anything about Brightwell Aquatics other than, I don't know if you guys know Han Tron of Han Aquatics.
Yeah.
He now does Han houseplants, but Han used Brightwell substrate.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, the only thing I knew about it was kind of expensive because I was able to buy SL Aqua for like $35 shipped to my house, and Brightwell was like $45 or something. So it's like $10 more. So why would I spend the money to get it? Right. So I never had to try it. Well, I woke up and I was like, what did I do? Like, I could have gotten like free substrate. I could have. There's been several times where club members have approached me and they're like, hey, let's work together on this. Like, I'm developing a biofilm builder and stuff like that. And I look up their website and there's like 3 things. It's not really a tab to click on or buy anything. It's just an idea. I'm like, I just don't have time to like, work with this people or take it seriously. And so I kind of just shrugged it off. Like it was another one of these, things. And I walked around the house pacing for like 35 minutes. I was like, what did I do? And then I got an email from Jack, and it was the nicest, like longest, like, hey, here's what I want you to think about. Here's what I'd like to do. This is what, we have room for and stuff like that. I mean, they wanted me at one time to come up to their warehouse because they weren't using the basement at all and just start breeding. And I was like, where's it at? And they're like, Alabama. And I'm like, too cold? I ain't going north. Not a chance. Like, you came to my meeting in South Florida. I thought I was really expecting, like, not expected, but hoping it was going to be down there. And then that would have been a dream come true. But it ended up being a really good thing because it was a good sponsorship. I helped them develop products. I was able to get a bunch of substrate.
Awesome. And
like one of the most expensive parts of setting up Caridina tanks is the substrate. Because I mentioned it's like $45 for a bag shipped. And you might get 2 or 3 tanks done with that one bag if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And it only lasts for a certain amount of time, 3 to 5 years. So it's something you got to constantly replace. So it's like getting a sponsorship like that, it was really nice, helped us out. It was at a time when I just quit my job and Shelby had stepped up to the plate and got numerous amounts, like 3 or 4 jobs, and was, really nice for us to expand and be able to make it so Shelby could step back, focus on one job, one good job, and not have to work 4 different places and stuff like that. So it was a great thing, and it was all because we went down to do a talk at Father Fish's club down in Venice. So
that's what it's all about. That's amazing. Nice. What would you say is your favorite memory of your club experiences? Whichever club, whenever, but like, what was your favorite memory so far?
What's yours, Shelby? Do you have one?
There's a couple, but I enjoy the Christmas parties. We get to play. Tampa is my favorite for it because they actually do a game where you have to name the fish, the species, the genus, and you have to come close to get points, and then you win a prize at the end. I just enjoy that time together because it makes us seem a little less crazy when everyone else knows. And
tell you the truth, she likes that time because it's my birthday, like usually right around that club meeting. And Shelby every year for my birthday makes me a pavlova. It's a New Zealand dessert. It's like a meringue. It's like a fluffy. It's an adult marshmallow is what I call it. Right? But then you put whipped cream, strawberry, and kiwis on it. Shelby likes to put blueberries on it. That's fine, but I'm not. Blueberries are for smoothies, not for papaya. Or pavlova. And so instead of her making it for my birthday, I say, hey, can you just double up on it, make 2 of them, and we'll bring it to Tampa Bay's Christmas party, because usually they the club will buy the meat and sides, and then the members bring in the desserts. Everyone usually people are going up and getting a slice of pavlova with their meal to make sure that they get a slice big enough, the right slice. So everybody is constantly like, oh my God, Shelby, it's so nice. And nobody says anything to me that night. So that's her night. She shines. That's why the Christmas parties are her favorite.
Of course.
Nothing wrong with that.
My favorite, I don't know. Can't think of one.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but not really my first talk. I think it was like Mike coming to the fish club meeting when he was back, and Layla going, I want tanks in her room. Like that's what I kept coming back to.
Hell yeah.
Because my first talk wasn't that good. My last talk was not my best talk, but everyone said it was. But what's that?
Nice.
Likes pavlova.
Oh, so.
All right. Well, a couple things to wrap up. You made it so easy. I didn't have to ask anything. Like, you answered everything. That's amazing.
I told Shelby I was going to be talking a lot because I prepared for this already.
I appreciate it.
And then I just ran everything through my head for like the last week again and again. I'm like, I need to make sure. And I had those stories I wanted to make sure.
I appreciate it. That's amazing. I loved it. So everyone that's coming to the Clash, be sure to visit Grant and Shelby's in the vendor room, their vendor space. They're going to be in there. I don't remember exactly where they're going to be. I don't have it memorized. But be sure to check them out. Also, they will both separately be competing in the aquascaping competition.
Nice.
Which will be a good time. And hopefully they are extremely successful and will come back in 2023 and maybe even be a speaker or something. Who knows?
I won't be missing any of the Keystone Clashes from here on out. I promise you that, because it's right on up there with the other club meetings, and it's one step closer for Shelby quitting her job. Because if we could do 2 shows a month, she could definitely quit her job. But if we can do one successful show every month, then, and the Aquashellas, Aquaticon was even good enough for us. So the Keystone Clash, from what I'm hearing and all the hype about it, I'm sure we'll do just as fine. It helps that we breed everything in-house.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have a lot of overcosts to go out. And shrimp are so easy. Like, people wanted us to bring fish to the Triple Crown, and it's just not possible for me to set up tanks and catch shrimp or fish on site. That's why we do the shrimp in bags, because it's so much easier to hand them out. And the shrimp are good in those bags for like a week and a half. We had one in transit for 10 days, over 100 shrimp, not a single DOA. The person messaged us, said they were worried. I messaged back, and I was like, they're all Neos. I'm not even concerned.
Nice.
Now, will you be entering any shrimp or fish or plants or anything into the fish show at the Clash?
You need to send me the links on those if it was open. Last time I tried to look, it said the invertebrate class wasn't open, or was it not sponsored, or what? Where do we go to enter?
No, everything's sponsored. Registration's open. It should be there.
Okay, maybe
I'll send you the link. Yeah,
please.
Absolutely.
Since I gave up the video games, I've lost all aspects of technology, and I'm lost.
That's what Shelby's for. She's got you covered there. She's great with it.
Yeah.
That's all I deal with.
Nice.
And if Dee Dee's watching, we're going to email you with the link here as soon as this is over.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's see. Real quick in the chat, Zen, thanks for joining us, but we're done. And Robert, and also real quick, Steven mentions that he's going to try to crush you at Aquashella, and Jenna's going to try to crush you at the Clash. Are
you doing the Fluval contest or just the Awasi contest?
That's the Creators contest.
Oh, the Creators contest. But is he doing both? I don't know who the other 5 people are competing. I'm sorry.
Ah, cool. Fun. And there's been a lot of talk in the chat about your shrimp, of course, and the success and how beautiful they are, which is pretty obvious. Steven is the creator contest only, he says.
Well, if you want to get an approval contest, it's only $200. You can compete against us. All aquascaping materials are supplied. And if you pay the $200, you get to keep your tank. And if you're not driving, I'll buy the tank off of you.
Nice.
I'm trying to get more tanks.
She's like,
you just got the look.
Why am I going to build a rack for one tank?
They're big tanks. They're not like normal tanks.
Grant, Shelby, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We are out of time, and I think Rico's going to go. So
I didn't see a notification, and it ain't up yet.
Oh, all right. Zen dropped your YouTube channel. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a great night.
You pay $200. I'll buy it back off of you for $200. You just get to compete.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone.
Later, guys.
Yeah.